slide of a number that you can text questions to. So if you think of them in the midst of the presentation, go ahead and text them to this number that's going to come up in a second. There are some objectives for this session. We've been discussing amongst my panel even what we really want to say and convey to you, and what we want to focus on are the benefits of working together across the public to private sectors. And so what I have is almost equal representation between the public and private sectors. And I'm going to introduce these fine people to you in just about a minute. So those are the learning objectives. Our panel is called From Beginning to End because almost any project that's done, at least in our immediate environment, takes a very long time to accomplish, if it is of any substance at all. So we're going to talk about some of the roadblocks, obstacles, and opportunities to overcome in that type of a process. Okay, if you're wondering who these folks are, I already introduced myself. I have on my right, and if I didn't get these titles exactly correct, forgive me. Okay, I'm fired, right. Inevitably needing no introduction, on my far right is Gail Goldberg, who is our Director of Planning, who's been with Los Angeles for about 3 and some odd years, right? Come to us from San Diego, and I just love to say this, has made a tremendous difference since coming to Los Angeles. So Gail is here with us, and next to me, I have Jim Atkins, thank you, who is with Merlone Geier and is probably best known for his involvement with Girding Ilde Edlin on the South Park.
Yeah, that's the South Park.
Okay, thank you, yes. Was deeply involved in the South Park development that everyone is familiar with and is heavily quoted as the stormwater off the street absorbing landscape sidewalk idea. So if you are familiar with that, Jim had something to do with it and represents the private sector. To my left is my friend and sometime client, Bill Witte of the Related Companies of California. And Bill has the distinction of having been both in public side and private side, as having been a deputy mayor up in San Francisco some time ago, but is now here active, very involved in downtown Los Angeles, and I'm sure you'll hear more from him in a moment. And then on the other end, we have Sarah Dusseault, who is a senior policy advisor to Councilman Eric Garcetti out in the Hollywood district. So what I have surrounding me are so much star power, it's blinding, but I hope you will enjoy what they have to share with us. As I set it up, I have a quick, funny slide that I prepared for you to just frame our discussion this afternoon. This is the question that number you can text your questions to if you have them throughout the course of the presentation, and then we'll ask them at the end. I'm going to leave time for that. Okay, to frame this, this is a quick fly around of a project that I'm working on, and I just wanted to set up what we're going to talk about. This project started about 3 years ago, and we are inching our way toward Planning Commission, which means after 3 years we don't have entitlements yet. And it's just an interesting process. So you simply cannot give up, and you have to keep working and working and working with neighbors, with planning, with Urban Design Studio in this case, with the community plan, and the Miracle Mile Design Overlay District, with something like 8 stakeholder community groups who are clustered around this part of the world, and with DOT, the Bureau of Streetlights, the Bureau of Street Trees, the Bureau of Engineering, the Department of Transit, and it just goes on and on and on and on. And in the meantime, before we got approved, they've actually approved Measure R, so the city has lots of money, theoretically, to spend on transit, and what was a sleeping dog at the time we designed the project, that would be the Purple Line extension out along Wilshire Boulevard, has come very much alive, and now suddenly they want to discuss metro access on our site, curiously, which would potentially be a great thing. And I just wanted to forecast the end of this project, that if we manage to start construction in October of next year, that's 2010, we anticipate our first residence right after college graduation in 2013. So if all goes perfectly, the timeline on this would have been just about 7 years. All right, so that just frames the story of, this is probably a typical project that has not been held up for years and years and years either. It's just something that happens in a rich and complex city such as the one in which we live. So with that, I'm going to call upon our panelists to give a brief framing of a pet project, story, situation, or experience that they have enjoyed over the course of some time that has been a big investment. Wonderful. And my first panelist is here now, who can speak to you. This is my friend and the Councilwoman for the 9th District in the city of Los Angeles, Jan Perry. Jen?
It's a long trip.
It is a long trip.
Yeah.
Do you want to catch your breath, or do you want to start?
Oh, I'm fine, thanks.
All right.
No, I'm okay. No, really. Let me just, turn off the BlackBerry. It's standard protocol.
Perfect. This is funny. At least 2 or 3 of us have done different mix-ups of this panel before in different places. So it's nice to see you all again and to be together again. And don't forget to check out the really groovy furniture on the floor if you get to go down through there.
Oh, that's good.
Great stuff.
Okay.
I spoke to Greg the other day, and he gave me a little highlight. That's Councilwoman Perry's deputy, and he sort of alerted to me what she was going to talk about. As you know, her district is very large and has disparate differences, and it goes all the way down to South LA and includes the financial district, for example. So it has a lot of constituents and a lot of really deep, compelling issues and a lot of long stories. So Jan.
But I won't tell the long ones.
Okay. How about a good one? Why don't you start us off with a good story?
Okay. All right, goody. I get to sit down. Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, Gail, for keeping me organized. That's why she's the head of planning. Anyway, it's had a lot of transformation in the district that I represent, and as was already stated, it's a very interesting district because it represents, the financial district, Little Tokyo, Skid Row, goes all the way down to 92nd Street, and I don't know if everybody in here is from Los Angeles, but I guess I would call that the northern end of Watson. It's residential with a lot of high-density housing and single-family homes, and I always felt that there was not enough natural green space, and there was a really serious problem with urban runoff, and we didn't have enough money or time to restore the infrastructure. And so, I looked for natural opportunities that would have multiple uses, and some of that is what led to, our former chief legislative analyst asking myself and Mr. Garcetti to work on the campaign to pass Proposition O, the Clean Water Bond. And one of the projects that I did as soon as the bond passed was to go ahead at a park that had already been built with state money at Slauson and Compton and enhance or added a feature which was a man-made wetlands. And that was sort of the dress rehearsal, and that one is 2 to 3 acres when the rain is at its height. But that was a dress rehearsal and the beginning of 4 more years of hard work and planning for a state-of-the-art 9-acre wetland in the heart of the district at 54th and Avalon. It will be directly across from a high school, and it is a former MTA bus yard. Now, some of that, I can't take credit for coming up with that idea, but I have to tell you, there was a lady who was an activist in South Los Angeles, and she has since passed. Her name was Witte, and she was rather, I guess you could say she was the founder of the environmental movement in South Los Angeles when she stopped an incinerator project in South LA. And so I remember when I first got elected, and Juanita drove me by the bus yard, and she said, "This is disgusting, you need to get it out of here, put something nice here for people." And I never forgot those words, and so first chance I had to be able to put together funding and put together a vision and some renderings and work with engineering and public works, I jumped on it. Now, I think it's going to be one of those quality of life projects where it's going to change the way that people view their own community. Having the wetlands down there already at Slauson and Compton has already changed, I think, people's perspective on the possibility that, yeah, you can live in a highly dense area and still enjoy many aspects of nature right there in your front yard. And of course, we're obviously desperately in need of park space. It was an interesting situation because we had to negotiate for years with the MTA, and that in and of itself was a Byzantine process, but it's certainly worth being tenacious and focused and getting through that, because now we have a good piece of property and they're going to be able to consolidate their operations. So it was a win-win for everybody. We worked with community stakeholders, and over the course of 4 years amassed about $19 million for site acquisition and park development. And so that's why about 2-3 weeks ago we were able to stick a shovel in the ground with a bunch of kids from the area and begin the celebration. And so that means that South LA will have 2 man-made ecosystems for kids, school kids, seniors, anybody who wants to come down and, marvel at herons and